So hello there everybody and welcome back on in to the channel here for an interesting video. And I say that because this particular video does have the potential to make me look a little bit stupid, but regardless, before we actually get on to that point of discussion, I feel as though we need to let things play out for a moment first within today's video. Today, I want to talk about an idea, a question, I guess, I've had in the back of my mind recently, and I went to essentially make a video on this, which I'm still doing here today, and I think it's still interesting despite us potentially already having an answer. But surprisingly, for once, this is coming from the sets, but not the upcoming Ninjago sets. This is coming straight from the Dragons Rising Season 1 wave, the sets that released in the summer of 2023, the June wave. And more specifically, this isn't just something that's coming from the sets overall, this is something that is coming from those new ninja minifigures we received there, which, off topic, they look pretty awesome. And I think a lot of us can agree, I'm just a big fan of their designs, although I didn't used to be at first. But I'm sure everybody is familiar by now with the facial expressions that they come with. Every single new ninja came with both a new updated humanoid expression for their normal face, and on the reverse side we got whatever this is up on the screen, and it's interesting in my opinion. And today, initially, I wanted to bring up the idea of this potentially being some form of secret new power that we could be seeing in the future. Because, to be honest, for the longest time, this has kind of confused me. I've always wondered what this actually was, and I guess I really just don't know enough about this whole scenario, because when I went to make a tweet about this on my Twitter, I got a very interesting reply that, in retrospect, makes quite a lot of sense, and that is the fact that this particular facial expression on the ninja is meant to represent some form of source dragon power energy boost type thing. So basically, a little bit like what Lloyd got in that one scene of Dragons Rising in around episode 2, I believe it was. So that's a reasonable idea, but the one problem I personally have with that is that it doesn't resemble anything like in the show. So while it's kind of a resemblance to that, I still don't think it's necessarily a concrete thing. Which again, still brings me back around to the main topic of discussion here. Is this going to be some form of, like, quote-unquote secret power for now that we just don't properly know about? Was the power that Lloyd got in episode 2 just like a very small preview of what's to come in the future? And what we see represented on this particular facial expression in the sets is going to be actually within the show playing a much larger role? Perhaps? I don't know. I think it's a really interesting idea, and while I think that there is definitely still a lot of merit to this, I think that, at the same time, considering this is just something shown in the sets, well, the sets aren't necessarily the most accurate things ever. They're not, like, completely biblically accurate. Some things are done just specifically for the sets, and I think that's just a fact we have to live with, really, as Ninjago fans. And I think the Ninjago fans as a whole do live with that fact. It's just quite an expected thing, I suppose, at this current point in time. But at the end of the day, I also just can't shake the feeling that potentially there is going to be a bigger story/plotline at play when it comes to this weird power-up, especially from the Source Dragons. I don't know. Does this make any sense to you guys? I think that when you, in fairness, also factor in the fact, I'm saying fact a lot of times here, I've just noticed that, but when you factor in all of this, I think that there is definitely a lot of merit to this when you also consider the fact that we don't actually know that much about Source Dragons. Season 1 of Dragons Rising was like a very brief, vague introduction to them as a whole and what they're all about, so who knows, maybe, again, as I hinted at earlier in today's video, that power Lloyd got in episode 2 wasn't as far as it can go. Maybe there is going to be something a lot bigger at play here, and maybe once we see more powerful Source Dragons and what they're really, really capable of firsthand, then this is all going to make a lot more sense. I think that would just simply make sense, would be cool. And again, I think it just seems to make the most sense. It just seems quite logical to me, so I really don't see why this wouldn't be happening. And on top of all of this, I thought that this just made for a very, very interesting one here. So with all of this being said, guys, that is basically going to cover things here. Hopefully you did all end up enjoying today's video. Now that I'm finished, I do encourage all of you to go ahead and leave any of your own thoughts on this down below in the comment section. I would love to hear your own thoughts regarding all of this. As usual, though, if you did end up enjoying this one, please do go ahead and drop a like on it. Subscribe to my channel for more. And while you guys are at it, be sure to also turn on that notification bell so that you can keep up to date on all things Ninjago related right here on my channel. And with all of this being said, guys, I will be sure to see you all very soon for a new one. So yeah, see you all soon. Goodbye, everybody.